And the next speaker is Maria Orera Clemente, doctor, PhD, and head of genetics laboratory in the General University Hospital Gregorio Marañón of Madrid. She is associate professor of the Department of Cell Biology of the Faculty of Medicine in Complutense University of Madrid. Welcome, Maria.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I really wish I was there. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it, but believe me, I can feel the good vibes from here, and I'm enjoying every minute and every talk. Thank you very much to Daniel and Estela for inviting us. I want to mention also Carmen Martinez Mora. Professor Martinez, she is a full professor of the Cell Biology Department in the University Complutense of Madrid. And she is also behind the idea of introducing genetics in the nursing curricula in Madrid. Okay. Okay. We've seen some similar image to this during these days. The first human genome, it took almost 10 years to finish, and it cost $3 billion. But thanks to the technology, and we've seen, and I've been able to see it in my practice, how the cost of sequencing human genome is been dropping. And then we are now in $100 cost per genome. I'm talking only about the lab cost. Then there are other costs that are applicable, but this really made a difference. And the difference is that along with technology, we've been able to understand genetics and to describe genetic diseases. When we were able to perform karyotypes, for instance, we could diagnose and we could know what the problem with Down syndrome was. When we were able to do Southern blotting or Sanger sequencing, we were able to understand Prader-Willi syndrome and other diseases. And now, we are now in this part of the graph. We are 2020 and forward. And then we are working not only with genomics, we are working only what is called the omic era. We can work in proteomics, so this really has changed health sciences. There have been 3 key changes in health science. The first, I didn't see that, the Industrial Revolution, but I really saw how the lab was able to perform automatic testing for biochemistry, immunology, microbiology. Then I live also the informatic revolution. I still remember when we have to write on the charts and do this by hand. And now we are in this proteomic and genomics era. So we are in the process of living the molecular medicine. And there are some key points that I want to stress. What is the difference between molecular medicine and, I don't know, other kinds of medicine? The first thing is we are proactive instead of reactive. And this has been a dramatic change in healthcare. Because we are able to predict susceptibility to disease, we are able to perform earlier diagnosis, and we are able to order personalized therapies, diminishing side effects and increasing the effectivity of the treatments. And in essence, what we are doing is to sustain health instead of treating disease. And this is a huge change. It's been shown before, but this affects all areas of medicine. No matter what we are working in, we have to know, and we are being affected by genetics and genomics. And also, we are changing from the as I say, reactive medicine to precision medicine, instead of thinking that one medicine is good for all the headaches, for instance. We went through the stratified medicine, and we are now in this era of precision medicine when we can take into account the individual content of genome content of the patients, but also their preference, their clinical features, their medical history, and even their behaviors and habits. So the question Carmen and I ask ourselves is, are we ready for this? Are we ready for genomic medicine? Are we teaching our students? Are we preparing them for what is going to be their future, their practice? And the answer is more or less here. The answer is no. So we made a review of all the programs that were being offered in the Universidad Complutense of Madrid. This is the study curriculum for nursing. And after going through this, we saw that only they were seeing a small touch in biochemistry and some few diseases, a very few diseases in clinical nursing. They have 2 courses in clinical nursing, but they were not really what we expected they should know. So we set up and we plan to do this course in genetics in health sciences around November 2018. And because of the structure of the university and the way it is organized, our department is teaching cell biology and genetics in our medical science, not only in medicine, but also in nursing, physical therapy, and pediatrics. So after, well, I can say some kind of a struggle, some struggle and some, well, it wasn't easy, let me put it that way. So we were able to we were authorized to give this elective course. I want to emphasize this is an elective course that the only requirement was that they have to have completed the second year of the school. And then we were offered, we developed a program with 3 ECTs. And the first year we offered the course was 2019-2020. I want to stop for a moment here. Our first class, I want to say, they have to deal with pandemics, and most of them were called on duty even before they finished the course. And still, they all were able to finish the class, and I want to remember them because they were really heroes. Okay, so this is our plan. This is our elective course. We have, as I said, this year we are offering 40 students, and we have, as I say, 3 ECTs. We have a total of 20.5 hours, which is very, very, very little. And then we decided to have 13 hours of theory, 6 hours of practice, and then we have some tutorized works in order to emphasize private personal learning. So what were our objectives and what we wanted to do this? Well, the first, okay, let's go back if I can. Okay, we wanted for the students to understand the role of genetic factors in health and disease, to provide basic knowledge in human genetics so they could understand the etiology of genetic diseases. And also we wanted for them to be able to learn by themselves, to allow individual learning. So we are open to them. We give them all the information they need. We have private tutoring sessions. And for specific objectives, we wanted for them to know the human genome structure and inheritance patterns, to understand molecular basis of different kinds of genetic disease, to recognize clinical manifestations of the most frequent genetic disease, to know the newest genetic testing technologies and treatments, And very important, we think, to know preventive and early diagnostic options in genetic diseases. The first objective and the last objective for us were the main importance. And as for competencies, to know basic aspects of human genetics, to understand and describe different mechanisms of genetic trace transmission, which is important in order to counsel the rest of the families. To integrate and correlate genetic information. This is not very easy because it seems like they are getting information from one lab and from another lab. The reports are sometimes complicated to understand. We want them to be able to understand what it really says in there. Also, to associate genetic results with health alterations. Is this a mutation? Is this a variation? This is a polymorphism. This has nothing to do with what I'm looking for. And very, very important to communicate effectively genetic concepts and results to patients and families. Remember, all this in 20, 13 hours of theory and 6 hours of practice. So I don't know. Okay. So when we said to evaluate the results, we asked them in the test, we want to know if they understand the contribution of genetic factors in prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of human disease. Let's make again highlight the preventive part to describe mechanisms of inheritance. Identify inheritance patterns, monogenic, multifactorial, and mitochondrial, because sometimes when you analyze the family history, as I told the students always, they don't come with a label, okay? I have this disease, that you have to figure it out by yourself, and sometimes it's not so simple. Describe different techniques applied to diagnose genetic diseases. The patients are going to ask them when they refer them to a geneticist or to another doctor, and they say, what they are going to do with me? What is this? I'm going to take me a biopsy. I have to do a colonoscopy to know if I have a risk of colon cancer. So they have to know this. They have to elaborate pedigrees. One, and it's one of our practical classes. We do pedigrees, and because they have to be able to correlate family history in the genetic, from the genetic point of view. We ask them also to solve simple problems in monogenic and multifactorial disease. They have to know, which is sometimes complicated, the genetic terminology. We also teach them to, and that's one of the objectives of the final job, that the final presentation they have at the end of the course. We ask them to use the online genetic resources like OMIM, gene reviews, and so forth. And we also emphasize teamwork and networking, because in all areas of health sciences, but especially in genetics, I don't know of any lab or any person or any hospital that can do every single gene study or is specialized in every single gene disease. So this is very important for them. So this is the result of our offer. The first year we offered 30 openings, and we are going now for around 40. As we are told, when we open, the registration time in a couple of days is full. The class is full, so we are very pleased with that. And they have to run in order to be able to register for the class. And as you say, in the evolution of the, we don't have the data for this year yet, but the first year, all of them were nursing students, and they are still majority of the students, but now we have pediatrics and physical therapy students as well. And I think that this is good for the class, because they team and they are able to, I don't know, share experiences. So let me walk through some of the things we study in class. I'll tell them about genetic alterations, the big ones like chromosomopathies and the small ones that like mutations. We explain the factors affecting gene expression like penetrance and variable expressibility, which sometimes is not, again, easy to see. We talked about non-Mendelian inheritance, like all these pathologies that are driven by unstable repeats. The inheritance patterns in this case is hard to understand. You have to think about it in order to think about the disease. We stress again the genetic counseling, especially prenatal diagnosis. And Matt, I really thank you about your presentation. I think that we have the same thought in very many things, because we think that the midwives and nurses have a very special role in the genetic counseling and prenatal diagnosis. So we explain them how the techniques, what is the pros and cons of each one of them, and so forth. And for the multifactorial disease, we talk about congenital malformations, because we also think that they can be able to prevent some of them. I think that this is a crucial role for the nursing profession, the prevention of disease, because much even before a person goes to a doctor, at least in our community, they will go through 3, 4 or more nursing consultations. So we think that prevention is in the hands of nursing, and so they have to know the relationship between genetic malformations and prevention, especially folic acid treatment. And again, as Emma pointed out, newborn screening, which is in our community, again, is all in the hands of the nursing profession. Okay, so this is just an example of one of the works of the students that they will present on site or online, depending on the situation. And well, this is it. This is what we do. We think that education is first in this complex world of genomics and nursing, and how we have to start from the beginning, which is teaching our undergraduate students and giving them resources and able to know the basics and be able to go further if that's their life. Okay, thank you very much, and this is all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Maria. It's Emma Tonkin here.
How are
Hi.
you?
Thank you very much for your presentation. I was wondering if you could talk about any challenges that you had within your university to get the course started and how you overcame them.
Okay, the main challenge was that the program, the curriculum was brand new. They had developed this program, like, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And then the faculty was not very, ready to make any change on the curriculum. So we have to fight with I don't know, Complutense University in Madrid is a huge university, and then the nursing school is within the health sciences, which is medicine, pharmacy, dentistry. So there are these very well established concepts, and genetics is not a main problem, or is not a main concern for the curriculum. I don't know if you know, but sure that Daniel and Estela, they know. In Spain, we don't even have a genetic specialty. So people that are working, doctors, physicians, we are working in genetics. Most of us, we did our specialty outside of the country. We don't have a genetic specialty recognized even for physicians. So the thing was that the only way we could introduce this topic was offering it as an elective course. And they gave us, so Carmen is not here with us today. She's in another meeting, as she told us already. She's the full professor. She's the one that was able to convince the people that nurses needed to know at least a little bit of genetics, that it will be good for their future. And as I said, we were proven right, because if you are a little, they have to run in order to be registered in the course. So the dean of the nursing school, they gave us like an ultimatum. Well, you have to have a full course every year, otherwise we will not be continuing this class. But fortunately, the response from the students is being great. Oh, I forgot to put one of the pictures of the class. Okay, and they are very young and energetic people, and thanks to them, the class is going on. So it was a matter of that. Well, I have my curriculum worked out. I'm not going to change it. You have a chance to do an elective course, and well, if the response is not good, we will cancel it. But well, we are being lucky, and it's still going on. Thanks.
Hi, Maria. I'm Danny from Manresa.
Yeah.
Some months ago, we discovered this genetic wall in Tampere, and also we discovered that we are not alone in Spain with this kind of wall. No, we discovered that you and Maria Carmen learn or do this kind of projects in the hospital. And my question is, if we want to do a national curriculum about genome, what do we do, in your opinion?
Well,
it's so big, the question.
Well, in my opinion, we will have to talk with Ministry of Education in order to include in all the programs or the genetic topic. Okay, I was listening very carefully to Emma with this UK Genome Initiative, where they are. We have something similar. I don't know if you are aware, which is called Impact, Project Impact, which is more is starting to run right now. And I reviewed the Impact project, and they don't have also they don't have any role for nursing. Another is mostly bioinformatics, genomics, data acquisition and interpretation. I think that we will have to join efforts, and then to convince the education ministry that we need to have genetics in the curricula of the health science. But as I said, and you know, we have not even got that for the medical students. So I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer, Daniel. I don't know what to do.
Thank you, Maria. Another question. Do you think that our health system or our hospital be prepared to introduce these genetic departments now?
Well, we are not ready, but we are there. Okay. So the thing is, let me tell you about how I started the genetic unit in the Gregorio Marañón. I did my traineeship in the United States very many years ago. And then when I came back to Spain, I got my curriculum, and I was going from hospital to hospital and explaining that genetics was important. I'm talking about early 90s, so it's a long time ago. And then I just came up in the Gregorio Marañón, and Emma was telling before that genomics in the UK some good start because one of the prime ministers have a son, or I think that it was a son with a rare disease. The thing I was able to start the genetic unit in the Gregorio Marañón was because the manager, el gerente from the hospital had been in the United States, and then he believed everything and he said, well, if in the United States is okay, pues we need this. And it was one of the first genetic units in Madrid. So I think in genetics is there. I usually, what I say is, even though we don't have a genetic specialization, we do have genetic diseases for sure. So, and the patient with genetic disease is being studied and is being attended, if it's not in a genetic unit, in cardiology, in psychiatry, in neurology, in ophthalmology, wherever, they will go there, and then we will have people that is attending these patients. I think that how do you say, our patients are being taken care of, but there is not an organized way to do it. So it's more expensive, it takes more time. There are some studies that are done that are not needed. There are studies that are not done. So I don't know. I'm a clinician and a professor. I don't know how to work politics, but the genetic diseases are there. The need is there, and the patients are being attended, but not in an organized way. So maybe with some numbers, I think that in your community you are good at numbers, so you can. We haven't talked about economic smarts in this meeting, but with numbers in your hand, you can demonstrate that it's really effective and is efficient to have genetic units and control the patients in one of these units.